Yeah, I'm a counsellor myself, also an online counsellor, and I tutor for OLT, online training for counsellors, and I've been doing that a few years now, the diploma in online counselling, and that's when I realised that so many people would like to know more about the online marketing, the website and the social media. And it's really not covered in most of the counsellor training. You know, so many of us want to set up our own practices. And I know in my own, I think there was 1 hour on marketing in when I did my degree. And talking to others, I found out that many people find that lacking. And if you're not technical at all, it's a bit hard to figure it all out yourself. I like it, and I spend many hours figuring it out myself and making a lot of mistakes. I thought, well, why don't I help other people save that time and share my knowledge with them? That's really how this came about.
Can you just talk us through what we're looking at here, Mieke, on the dashboard, please?
Okay, this is your dashboard, and dashboard really means the area where you can do anything to your website. And I'll quickly go through some of the most important stats on the left, because that's really only what you need here, the things on the left.
So all down the left-hand side is a menu with all the different resources in WordPress that you can use? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So posts is where we'll be going in a little while, where I will show you how to make a new post.
Yeah. So that's when someone wants to add a page to their blog, they would use
to their
post.
blog, yes. And pages is not that different from posts, but those will be all the pages that you will have on your website, and the blog will be just one of those pages.
Yeah, so the home page or the contact page, or if we're working with clients online, we might have a fees page, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And those you can all make here.
And important to see that there's also the option to, when you're hovering over pages, that add new, and that's what you'd click on to make a new page. Yes,
so if you hover over something, more tabs will come up and you can click on those to do something with it. Now, WordPress is just, it's very basic. That's why most people install a theme. And a theme just means that you have some more options to make nice pages, to add other things to your site, to manage colors, layout. So just remember that the WordPress itself is just a blank screen. And there are many themes that you can choose from that all do different things. There are a lot of free ones. I work with one that is not free, but I've chosen that one because it's really easy to work with. And that is the most important reason for me.
And the themes make a big difference because all the colours and the shapes are already in place, and that means you just need to put the text in and maybe put some pictures in.
Absolutely, and they make it easier for you to customize what's on top of your web page and what's at the bottom. And some I've tried several themes, and some are just written for technical people. I went like, what?
Okay.
So it's important to pick one that is easy to work with.
Yeah.
Appearance is another important one. That's where you manage all the themes you have installed. You make menus. Menus is basically how you organize all your pages. Because usually when you come to a website, you will see the pages at the top of the page. And that's what you do with menus. I won't go into what widgets are, but they're like plugins, little extras that you can add to your website. And that's all you can find here. Another really important one is settings. That's one of the first things I go through with people, in the course to get all the settings right. It's usually something you have to do when you set up, and you don't have to really look at anymore later.
Yeah, that's something. If someone was doing your course with you, you could talk them through all those little things to do at the beginning.
Yes, that's what we do at the beginning to make sure everybody has those right. And of course, one of the first things we do is go through the dashboard so that the basics, that you know the basics.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Thank you for talking us through that, Mieke. Brilliant.
Okay. Shall we now have a look at making a new post?
Sounds exciting. Let's do that.
Right. So I hover over posts and then I select. Well, I'll first show you what that looks like. I could have gone to add new directly, but there we go. So here I can see all the posts I have made already.
Yeah. So these are all on the website.
Well, almost.
Right. Okay.
At the top, this one you can see it's scheduled.
So
there's also, I'll get back to that in a little bit, but you can work ahead. Very great if you're going on holiday.
Yes. Okay. So you could have the blog post appearing while you're away. Yeah.
While you're away, yeah. So now I'll click on Add New. Some of these things I want you to ignore, because like this black bar only comes up when you have my theme installed, so you can ignore that for now.
Okay.
This is an important one because you want a good title.
Yes.
I'll just give it a silly name now, but it's good if you include at least one of the keywords you use in your text, because Google search engines will go through your titles as well. So if you have a good title, it's good for the search engines, and you want a title that makes people curious, that makes them want to click and read what you have to say. Yeah. So it's good to really think about your title for a little bit.
So that might be like a question, or maybe a little bit of a controversial statement, or...
Yes, lists work really fine. So 5 reasons for. Those things work really well.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we go back here. As you can see, this is a lot like working in Word. Again, ignore the bottom one because that's part of my theme again. But this is universal. And like it's bold, italic, it's all things you know from Word already.
Yeah.
I have prepared a little bit of text. So just going to copy that and put it in. See, it loses some of the formatting, but it is a good idea to make it in Word first, because then you always know you will have another copy if something happens to your website.
So what we've just seen you there is go into Word and grab the text that you wrote earlier. So, yes. And your kind of suggestion, well, that's good practice. It's kind of helpful to do that. Write it in Word, and then what you're doing is pasting it into this part of the page.
Yes.
Where the text for your website shows up, I guess.
Yes, and so you lose the formatting, so don't do that in Word. But usually your Word has a bigger window as well, so it's nicer to work in there and then transfer the whole post over into WordPress.
Yeah. And if people wanted to, they could type the text straight into that window.
Yes, you can do that. You can do that. But I prefer not to do that.
Okay.
Now, as you see, you have visual. That's what we have here. If you go to